Hello and welcome to the Carbitrage Podcast, episode 135. I am Eric Berger, joined as always by my co-host Ryan Sinisky. Hi.
Hello there.
How are you doing?
Good.
Fabulous.
You've got a Kolsch
I do. I have a Clown Shoes.
Mango.
Yep.
Yep, that's my favorite beer ever.
Our only manual Patreon patron, Tom,
Gave
went
that
to
to you?
Florida seasonally, and he's like, clean out my fridge. I don't want to drink all this when I get back in the spring. So I'm like,
That's
okay,
fair.
fine. So I'll be drinking a couple of beers that he bequeathed us. Over the
I
next
have
week or two.
a Lake Superior kayak Kolsch.
What a Kolschi note we're
Yeah, no,
starting
right?
today on. I would open mine, but it's already opened.
Let me just throw a cap. So
You're gonna
It
try to
kept
hit the
the
bell with it?
no, it kept hitting the WeatherTech thing, so it didn't make any noise. So I was trying to throw it on the wood, so
Oh,
you
okay.
hear me drop the cap.
Is
And
that
I
like a
kept-
mic drop? A cap
Yeah.
drop?
But like, I just kept hitting this WeatherTech floor mat.
Drink liner.
Yeah, drink liner I have here. Anyway, I had this last night, but I'm gonna pretend this is my first one.
Is it swell?
It's really good.
Excellent.
Also, can we talk? Look at the
Sediment?
haziness in the sediment. Yeah, it's
Is it an unfiltered beer?
yeah, it's an unfiltered Kolsch, which
I like.
I've
sediment.
not had an
Very tasty.
unfiltered Kolsch because that is not unfiltered.
I
That's
believe
very-
this is definitely filtered.
that's extremely filtered.
I've never seen an unfiltered beer in an aluminum can before.
Had one solitary Hefeweizen that was unfiltered in a can, and it was really weird.
Was it a squealer or was it an actual like can?
It was a can.
Okay. Can you do the can?
But no, I've never had a unfiltered Kolsch. It's really good because the Kolsch is just kind of a variation of a Hefeweizen or a wheat beer.
Yeah, it's got a little more going on in
Yeah.
a different way, and it's
It's-
perfect for a not as hot day.
What's the difference, if I'm not mistaken, the difference between a Kolsch and a Hefeweizen is the Kolsch uses two different kinds of hops.
And Hefe is
Which-
just a single.
It's a single hop. So the Kolsch, if I'm not mistaken, I could be completely wrong about this. So if I remember talking to somebody like years ago about this, if I'm not mistaken, the Kolsch, since it has the two different hops, it gives it a more complex flavor profile. One hop you taste earlier on, and then it switches to the second hop on the finish.
Interesting. It's like a sequential turbo.
Exactly. Yeah, it's the 2JZ
I
of
don't know
beers.
why this reminds me, but we were talking beer on Thursday, and it was hazy IPA.
Yes.
And I described it as, what was it?
You take out the 9-volt battery, you add fruitiness.
Yeah,
That's
the
what it was.
fruitiness is where the 9-volt battery
Yeah,
would
that's
have
what
been.
it was. Yeah, that's it.
So there
yeah.
we go. That is my review as a person who knows very little about beer.
Yeah, a
and hazy
hazy
IPA.
a hazy IPA is the only way to experience an IPA because
I
every
agree.
other IPA tastes like dog shit.
Yep. Yeah. And not that I know what dog feces tastes like directly, but I'm guessing that it's very similar.
I've been eating Oh, actually,
just to keep your immune
weirdly
system
enough,
strong.
I've been eating a saltine cracker because I was homesick, and when I was a kid, and my dog took a shit in the hallway,
Oh no.
so I had a flavorless food in my mouth while smelling dog shit. So I'm
No.
pretty sure I'm aware of what it tastes like.
Yeah, that is like the traditional palate cleanser.
Which was actually extremely close to most IPAs. Weirdly enough.
Anyway, let's move on from beer, I guess. I want to quick plug our Patreon page, so patreon.com/carbitrage. You can head over there. We have a couple different levels of direct support methods. If you do enjoy Carbitrage and want to give us a little extra beer money, we would certainly appreciate it. If not, we'll keep right on doing the podcast. And building on that, we have a Patreon topic. I'm trying to bring these back because it's a thing we used to do, and actually we get really good topics from Patreon patrons, but I'm also thinking about just opening it up to people on Facebook and our Facebook page. 'Cause
That'd
I've been
actually be a
getting-
really good. You know, one thing we should do is we'll have a Patreon topic, which maybe we either spend more time on, but you get something more as the Patreon topic than the Facebook topic.
Or we could post the Patreon topic as sort of a question in the Facebook page and then
And
get feedback from our community.
That's a good
So
option.
then
yeah.
we can
I
build
like
on that.
that.
Anyway, we're going to directly cover this one because I kind of feel bad we haven't done one for a while, and I was looking through, and it's actually kind of interesting. So I want to talk about driveways.
Okay.
Mainly, I mean, there's a lot of different, like, when you think driveway, it's like, well, it depends. If you live in the city, it's like you don't have one. You park on a street, or maybe you're lucky enough to have an alley with
I
a
do
little
have one.
concrete apron. I have one. It's bituminous. It's got a concrete, floor in my garage, but garbage pavement leading up to it. So
Well,
when you
it's
think of
asphalt
driveway,
leading up to it.
asphalt, bituminous, yeah,
Yeah.
same thing. When
Well,
you think
for
of,
most people, I don't know.
well, our listeners are very intelligent for the most part, Ryan. So I'm gonna just assume that they know what bituminous means.
No.
Yes.
don't.
No,
Anyway.
I'm making a sweeping generalization that everyone knows what bituminous is. But yeah, when I immediately think of driveway, I think of my driveway because that's just the one I encounter the most, and it's fairly long. It's got asshole neighbors on the other side of it, and it's made out of tarmac.
Yes.
But I mean,
Tarmaculum.
tarmaculum. Yeah, yep. It's a base element. It's also a noble gas in certain situations. Wow. Anyway, so what's like I said, my driveway is a straight shot, and then it's got a little parking pad at the top. But like,
So they just want us to describe driveways, or like what?
no,
do we
what's your
what do we
favorite?
look for?
What's your favorite like shape of driveway? Like, do you want something that's just like a straight shot from the street to your garage? Do you want something that's got a little bit of a kink in it,
I want a journey.
like a Dodge,
No, I want
special financing?
to pull off of the street. Of course, this is growing up in Edina and knowing people that had these kind of driveways, where the driveway, by the time you're on, getting onto the driveway from the street, you can't see the house, and by the time you're getting to the house, you can't see the street.
Yeah.
And the driveway in of itself is something along the lines of Goodwood Festival speed. That's how I want my driveway.
But what if you had to back up a car trailer or something like that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay,
I'm sure you can have a workaround, like an little parking pad lower down for like
okay,
the,
fine. As
for
long
like
as
the
you're
help.
it's near the the servants' quarters. Okay, that's fine.
Who the hell was I doing? I did a video project with somebody in high school. I cannot remember who. I think it was Ben or somebody. But anyway,
Which Ben?
I think Hessness. I
Okay.
can't. I might be wrong.
I did a video project with Ben Hessness. It was for
What-
TRM at 9th grade.
Okay, yeah. Did he have a ridiculous house?
No, we did it at
Oh.
my dad's place
Okay.
of business.
So it might not have been him, but I was with somebody where their house had wings on it, like literally two separate wings that were each much bigger than, like, each one of them was the size of your house.
Oh, it doesn't take much.
Which your parents' house is pretty good size.
Oh, my parents' house is.
That's what I should say. Yeah.
Okay.
Your house, like when I was growing up.
Yeah, it's 2,800 square feet.
But he had literally a driveway which went up about a bus length, and then took a banked left turn, went back up, did a banked chicane right turn,
Ooh.
came up to the front door of the house, and the house was kind of like a little bit of a V shape, and then there was a roundabout in front of the house with a fountain in it.
That's pretty cool.
And this driveway was wide enough where you could easily fit an RV through it without any trouble.
So it was very fun to go through at speed, is what you're saying.
Yes, and it was absolutely. That's what I like in a driveway.
Okay, being able to go through it at speed. I'm kind of right there with you. I would either like a straight shot so I can back car trailers up to it, or I want something that is super wide. It's got bank corners, and it's basically a mini racetrack so I can enjoy parking.
Another little thing about why I like driveways with weird angles on them. If I can put a tree in the way and the city can't see my multiple not working vehicles hidden behind a tree,
Alleged non-working
yeah,
vehicles.
alleged.
Thank you.
That'd be huge because. Minneapolis are sticklers about having
It's
more than
4,
two
I think,
vehicles.
right?
It's 2 vehicles
Really?
outside of your garage, regardless of the size of your house.
St. Paul's 4.
Well, let me say, regardless the size of your household,
Hmm.
and if your garage is open, if you have 2 vehicles in your garage, they count as 2 vehicles that they
Cool.
can see.
Cool.
So there's a story that was on city pages where somebody got ticketed by a really just apocalyptic douche of a meter maid, because their daughter and their son both had cars. And the guy opened the garage and he was mowing his lawn, and all 4 cars in the house got tickets.
Cool.
And they were sent a cease and desist, and they get rid of one of the cars and everything. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
And then it didn't get dropped because Minneapolis City Council only cares about gentrification.
Well, we know that.
But anyway, so another reason
Okay.
why I like having a ridiculous driveway, so that doesn't happen to me.
Fair enough. So, you currently have a driveway, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So, what are your thoughts on alleys? So, like for me, when I first think of that
I'm okay
kind of
with an
thing, it's like they don't maintain them, and like snow plowing gets kind of weird in the winter, because like usually it's not like a city contract. It's not a road. So your association essentially, you just pay together, or you have some hick drive down and just plow your little section.
I'm okay with an alley as long as they don't put in speed bumps on it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And yeah, most of the alleys are wide enough for almost anything you could do. People usually don't care too much about, what you put on it, which is kind of nice. Even if you're in a protected neighborhood,
That's
the
I
garage is
kinda
a
like
secondary
about it, yeah.
structure. it's hidden from view, and you can have better curb appeal potentially if you don't have to see your garage.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, I've seen some really nice stuff in alleys, and I've also seen, wow, that is gonna fall down in alleys before.
Yeah.
So I still prefer the single family, 3-stall garage. But I mean, in a situation like my house where it's kind of tucked up behind, you get a little bit of the benefit from both worlds, maybe.
I actually found a house in St. Paul. That garage was next to a street and alleyway. It was a 2.5-car garage, and this is over by Kip's detail shop.
Okay.
Over off of Snelling. 2.5-car garage, 3-bedroom, 2-bath for under $200,000
It's pretty dang good.
with a privacy fence. Like, that was an unbelievable house. It's just, it's not the right time
Especially
to market.
in this market. Yeah, that still seems like a pretty good price.
Yeah, I'm waiting for a recession before I buy. It's just, I'm not, it'd be foolish for me to buy right now.
Well, it is a seller's market.
And that's the
There
thing.
are still some deals, but
I'm just, that'd be ridiculous to buy right now.
yes. I think the driveway is less important than the garage that's on the property, but anyway.
Now, I have another question about driveways.
Sure.
How do you feel about people that park cars on their driveways?
Well, kind of building on what you said about the City Pages article, like having 2 cars parked on it basically at all times, probably when people are home.
Yeah.
I don't really have a problem with that as long as they're moving regularly. But if there is, and it's hard to draw that line. It's like, well, yeah, if we make legislation that says, well, it needs to move regularly, then it's going to screw people with project cars, which I think is totally fine to have too, because a lot of project cars look still pretty damn good. In the case of my house right now, I've got a 98 BMW M3 just parked in my backyard. It's got current registration on it, so I don't think I care, but I'm totally fine with it. I don't like when they don't move, and I don't like when you have 4 cars worth of space on your entire driveway and you have 4 cars on it. So
Yeah.
I wish there was maybe a percentage of coverage, not to exceed
Yeah.
maybe 50% of your hard covered driveway with parked vehicles.
Somebody has a driveway, 2-car garage.
Yeah.
They have an RV.
I think that should be required to have concrete
But I mean,
things under the tires of the thing on your yard. I don't think it should be on your driveway.
well, then you're just gonna have people start parking Civics on driveways
No, because it's
or
RV.
on yards.
That's why you have to classify it as a recreational vehicle. They're
Right,
registered
so-
differently.
So like a shitbox like Toyota Chinook. If you can Google a Toyota Chinook.
Jeez. Is that spelled like the helicopter?
Yeah. So one of those.
Oh, that is
just-
cool.
It's super cool. That's my favorite RV. But imagine one of those super duper clapped out and having to look at that every day.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, that's why I would like RVs to be classified separately, because those things are a nuisance in pretty much all city areas, and they are actually treated differently from vehicles. So, in Minneapolis, you can have 2 vehicles, according to you. I have no idea.
Yeah.
And, if you had something that wasn't registered as an RV, but was plated as a regular vehicle, but it was huge, you could still legally have 2 of them parked on your driveway. So, what's the point of that when you can't have more than that in vehicles?
Yeah.
So, I'm not.
It's a really slippery slope.
It is.
Because at the same time, I don't want to, put out somebody like, Andrew Chase, where he's got 2 projects in his driveway, but he also has his daily drivers, and he's got a 4-car garage behind that with additional stuff.
Right.
But really he's not creating a nuisance.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I should say that my house personally, before we finally got yelled at it, really bent the rules of what you can park.
We'll say massaged.
We massaged the rules a lot. We've gotten it a lot better, but we're just down to 3 cars on the street. But that's the thing is also if you have roommates,
Yeah, that's the thing.
that's
if
a
you have
huge
multifam.
thing. So this is where it comes from. Is we don't have an excessive amount of cars.
Right.
It's just me, my van. So it's my van, my winter car, the Accord, and then the Cressida at my house. Because I work on the Cressida. The winter is the winter car is the Accord, and the van is my van for all the time. Miguel's got his Miata, his Colt, and his van.
Yep.
So that's 6 cars.
Does he have his pickup too, or no? And the
No,
Smart?
the pickup got hit. So his pickup's parked behind his grandma's house.
That's super sad.
Yeah. The Smart fits in front of the Cressida without any issue.
Okay.
But see, that's the thing is it's also one of those things where if you have a roommate and you're both car enthusiasts, it's
Yeah.
very, very easy to just blow clean through that rule. and it's not that easy for some people like you can afford a garage like this.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like
I could pay for it.
99.5% of car enthusiasts, maybe including a lot of 1%ers, half of 1%ers, can't afford that. Because it's one of those things where it's like, you want to have your hobby, but at the same time, like I think if you're just being respectful about it,
Yeah.
If your neighbors aren't complaining, if your neighbors do complain, you do something about it. That's
Right.
huge.
That maybe that's a good thing that people should start working into legislation. It's like, well, it's fine as
Until
long
you
as,
get complaints.
You're right, until
Yeah.
you start getting complaints.
And realtors don't count. Actual neighbors count.
That's true.
That's the big thing. So you just have like 5 realtors all yell at you at once and then ruin your life. Now let's take this Chinook off the screen. Turn off screen capture.
Fine. Brother.
I want to talk about the worst vehicle I've ever heard of in my life.
That. Okay, so I know it's not pre-war.
No, this is the worst crossover of all crossovers.
Is it the Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross?
No, this one's worse.
I don't know about that.
All right, here. What is the best American SUV? Like
Oh man, you're putting me on the spot.
the most off-road worthy SUV that you can get. That was just like an absolute game changer when it came out, and really
The Wrangler?
It wasn't a Wrangler; it was close. It was a Jeep, but when it came out, it was the perfect combination of comfort and
Grand
off-road
Wagoneer?
ability. And what was that replaced with? The Cherokee, right?
No, they ran alongside each
But
other
yeah,
for over 10
I
years.
mean though, like it took
The
it
Grand
out-
Cherokee.
the Cherokee though.
No, Cherokee started in '83 and the Grand Wagoneer ended in '94.
I know, but I'm just saying that the
Grand
Jeep,
Cherokee
but the
replaced it.
Jeep Cherokee is the one I was talking about.
Okay.
Like that's the one that really just kind of blew up the
Yeah.
SUV market and
Yeah.
made it a thing.
It pretty much did create the SUV.
Yeah, I mean, like, they existed before that, but this was kind of like the Model T of SUVs. This was the game changer that made it
Yeah,
like
they were cheap, capable.
it was. It's one of
reliable.
those things where one of those rare times in the world where your mother and you both agreed on what a good car was.
Yeah.
Like when mom's car and your car were both cool. Like
You
that
got
was.
different trim levels of an XJ Cherokee.
Yeah, it's like you can get an XJ Cherokee 2-door manual 4-wheel drive, and you can get like automatic, like 4-wheel
Four-door
drive,
with
4-wheel,
like graphics on
like
it.
Laredo,
yeah,
like for mom.
and leather seats.
The Jeep Cherokee has now turned into the worst vehicle.
Oh,
of
the
all
modern
time.
one is
the
so
modern
bad.
one. The
Do you remember
KL,
when
the KL Cherokee.
we
is
first
the
saw
worst.
spy shots of that thing and we thought it was a joke.
Yeah, I honestly
how
thought
ugly it
I
was.
didn't think it was a real thing, but I found one. I did not know you could get this combination of it, but this is how far the Cherokee has fallen. It is an automatic front-wheel drive 2.4 liter 4-cylinder base model
Yeah, gross.
called the Cherokee. So I did some crunching because I
Is
like
that trail rated?
no. So this is the thing. I was trying to go, why on earth? Like this, honestly, is the worst place to park $22,000. I can't possibly think of anywhere worse than this.
That's
I'm
a
like,
lot of money.
It's a lot of money. Like they weren't cheap. The fuel economy sucks. I mean,
Does
25 combined for like
It is a 9-speed auto and 4 gas
Yes.
holes.
yes. It's
How archaic is that 2.4? Is
Can
that
we
still
also
the
talk about
same
how
one?
the 2.4 gets 1 mile per gallon more than the V6?
Yeah, same city economy
Yeah.
and 1 mpg different on the highway.
Yeah, it
Is the
makes no difference.
Is the
They both
3.2 a
suck.
Pentastar still?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I don't care.
That's a better answer.
Yeah, but yeah, it's so I looked up the price. Brand new, they were $21,500 base.
Are they actually selling for that?
Yeah, that's like what they're actually like. That's what they're selling
So
for.
people are actually paying that for a Cherokee.
So I did a bunch of research. I had to find this. This is the only logic I can think of. Somebody needed a brand new vehicle for whatever reason. Like maybe they had a lease and they were trying to like roll in a bunch of negative equity off of a car that they had that like broke. Like maybe they went to Audi
Sure.
and like
Oh,
the
God.
timing chain blew up and now you own this car for like $3,000 that's worth $500 and now you got $2,500 of negative equity.
Right, and I will bet that vehicle's king of negative equity.
And so something like that, you would roll into a lease. So I can understand that somebody maybe leased one of these and wanted to like have the cheapest lease payment possible.
Okay.
while still having the most cargo capacity. Because this car has the most cargo capacity of any SUV under $22,000.
Does it? How many liters?
I can't remember, but it beat like the Fiat 500L by like I think like 2 square feet, like just barely.
Okay.
Like beat the 500L.
That's actually impressive because the 500L is kind of
Yeah.
element-like in how it delivers.
It does have an impressive amount of cargo capacity. That's honestly the only reason I can think of that. But like, what can you think of a worse vehicle than
I'm
that
trying really
particular? And
hard. Are you talking crossover specifically?
I think just vehicles. Like a vehicle that is just objectively worse across the board.
I would rather drive this than a Nissan Rogue base model. Smaller engines, CVT only, 2-wheel drive, terribleness. I think I'd rather drive this than a Rogue.
You know what?
What?
I'm inclined to agree with you, except for one small thing.
What?
I feel like this one's gonna be less reliable than the
It
Rogue.
will be, and
And-
it gets way worse fuel economy.
And the Rogue is gonna, the Rogue gets better fuel economy.
way
though.
better.
So the Rogue is objectively a better vehicle than this, because of that.
Ah. Yeah, that's true. This thing is based on like the oldest technology. It's a port-injected engine, non-turbo.
Yeah,
With
it's really bad.
With a 9-speed trans, though. Like, really? I remember when these first came out, they were having so many issues and people coming back.
So not reliable and just not good. Like across the board, it's bad. But yeah, this is literally the worst vehicle on earth. I think the worst part
Oh,
about
it's
this.
sold in the United States. There are worse vehicles.
I have to say the worst part about this. This is the part that I thought about cars like the Rogue and things like that. Where there's
Right.
like a few that I'm like, ugh.
Well, I mean, the Rogue has a purpose. It's people that want a cheap new vehicle that holds many things and has really good highway fuel economy.
This is where the Jeep beats the Rogue in my mind. Just completely, you cannot come back from this.
Right.
It's called the Cherokee. When you think the XJ Cherokee,
Right.
one of the greatest off-road vehicles of all time. And then there's this.
It's like the BMW's new 8 Series. It just vomits on its own heritage.
Yeah, and
for
or
the
it's
sake
like
of sales.
it's like imagine if they called the Nissan Rogue like the Xterra.
Oh man, people would be firebombing.
Like that's how it'd be worse than that if they called it the Nissan Patrol,
Okay.
which
well,
is the Nissan
but
version.
in the United States, nobody has any idea what the hell a Patrol is.
So if the Infinity version was the QX50, 75,
We went over this last time. We've no
the
idea.
big SUV, the Nissan Armada.
I think it's a
It was a Nissan-
QX80.
The Patrol was the Armada, so if they called this the
Okay.
Armada, yeah, the Rogue the Armada, like it's just like it just absolutely derails.
Can we
its
go
legacy.
back to Infinity? Fuck you.
Yeah, it's
I'm
so,
using my one F-bomb and I mean it.
yeah. Infinity really sucks. Well, I was behind an Infinity actually the other day, and I was like, "This car is really good. I like this. Like, what is it?" I looked down, and it was like a Q.
It had a Q in it.
It's a Q50 or a Q60. I can't remember.
2-door,
which one.
4-door.
I think it was two. Yeah, it was 2-door. Yeah,
60.
60. Are you sure?
Mm-mm.
No.
No, but I think it's my gut says it's a Q60. You know what? Let's Google a Q60, shall we? Infinity Q60.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
it.
that's the 2-door. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So
That looks good.
It's
That
a
looks
G.
good.
It's a G. It's a G37.
Okay, thank you. I thought it looked pretty.
Yeah, there you
It was
go.
in it was kind of in that like baby shit like gold, taco night color.
Hell yeah.
It looked really good.
Okay.
It looked really good in taco night.
Especially if it's a 30T. That would have been pretty
I
cool.
don't know what engine. it
Fender
had.
badge.
I
They started doing that like 10 years ago, and I hate it. But anyway,
God. Anyway,
I
so
hate the new Cherokee. It's a terrible vehicle.
it really is just the worst vehicle.
Jeep, you should be ashamed of
Across the
yourselves
board.
for taking basically what is an XJ Cherokee and putting it on a GS platform Mitsubishi car that nobody wanted in a car, and
Now
now
it's
you
a
made
truck.
it into something just so terrible. Ugh, God. Anyway, all right, I'm depressed by that.
Well, give me some good news.
Well, I want to tell you about an electric vehicle thing that's going to surprise you because I never talk about anything EV on this podcast.
No,
but
never.
okay, so we've discussed briefly at least the future of engine swaps are probably going to be motor swaps.
Yes.
They're going to be electric based just because it makes sense. I mean, but the biggest problem, arguably, other than just finding components that will connect your motor, which is pretty easy to find, and your battery, which is pretty easy to find, nothing fits. So right now you have to know a machinist to take this electric motor and mill an adapter for the input flange of a manual transmission and to mount it to a manual transmission bell housing
It's the same level of difficulty as like a Mercedes V8 swap.
with a manual box.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it's honestly like it is better.
It's the same
but
amount of machine work.
At what amount of pain in the ass are you willing to deal with to get the better thing?
The one exception I can think of is a lot of these electric drivetrains are not longitudinal; they are transverse.
Which
so
makes it easy,
you
yeah.
can actually just cut the half shafts on that thing, mount the actual power unit under your car, and then contact somebody like Drive Shaft Shop with measurements and send them the splined hubs from both sides, and then they can make you half shafts for about $1,000. Not that bad.
Yeah.
But that's a commercially available thing because drifters really drove that home. Like, I want to put a Ford Expedition diff in my 240. I'm like, all right, cool, yeah, we can do that. We sell off-the-shelf shafts for that.
Well, that also DSS. They're also very popular in the Honda community because of the weird engine swaps that people would do.
Right, like
'Cause
doing a K and an Insight, you need a DSS half
Well,
shaft.
with Honda, it's not everything bolts up, but what we would do is we would have there's this amazing company called Hasport,
Yeah.
which was Honda and Acura sports, and they started out actually as a Honda dismantler, and what they would do is they'd take different engines and different chassis, and they literally have a giant board, and they pick combos off the board. And then they put the engine in the car. They figure out how to make it fit, and they
Right.
make mounts for it, and they sell them commercially. And then you figure out the rest
And
of
their
the
mounts
aftermarket.
are beautiful.
Yeah, and then the rest of the aftermarket figures out everything else.
Sure.
So actually, I've got a set of the original Hasport B Series EF mounts from 1996.
But the B and the D flow the same way, right? They have the trans on the same
yeah,
side.
yeah. BDH,
The left side trans?
BDHF, J, C.
Really?
Everything except for the K Series.
J has the trans on the other side?
I believe so, if I'm not mistaken. The
well, people
transmission,
J-swap elements all the time.
but I think the J comes out on the passenger side, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, actually, we have the Googles.
Yeah, we have to Google this. I could be wrong, because I know the C does.
Yeah, I know the H, D, and B.
Actually, no, C's longitudinal.
I'm just going to Google a J32. You know what? Let's follow along with us, viewers, as we embark on this journey. No, J and K have the trans on the right side.
Okay, okay, yeah, you're right.
I was going to say, how the hell do people put... Because the dude that drove up from Chicago to buy my all-wheel drive shit from the old Element
Yeah,
was putting a J in something.
that's hilarious.
I know. I'm like, can you send me pictures when you're done? That'd be kind of cool.
I love J swaps. They're my favorite.
The K is a really good engine. It has better power potential than a J, but a J can make a ton of power.
Well, there used
so much
to be
power.
this before he crashed it. Eventually, this Hmong dude that with a rat tail that would drive a J swapped Integra turbo.
Oh God.
And he would take that out street racing. He had that hooked up to I think like a B series tranny, which is like a super short ratio tranny. No, it wasn't B series. It was a K. It was a K series tranny.
I think they must
Yeah.
run a very similar or the same bell housing pattern.
Yeah, but no, there's adapters for everything. But I think it was it did run a K series tranny, but it was a EP3 SI. It's a
Okay.
super short ratio tranny. So like first, second, third, he spun. Yeah, he spun through the first three because he had like race line coilovers on it. It was
Of
like
course.
super hood.
Of course.
But when he would do highway runs, if he did about 1/3 of throttle through second gear and most of third, and got onto it in the top of third, dude is untouchable. If he could keep the tires on the ground.
yeah, I mean they're fast.
Yeah.
That's
So
definitely true. I don't know.
anyway, so back to engine swaps and motor swaps.
Yeah, so again, right now, in most vehicles, if you want to maintain a factory diff and axles and brakes and everything, your one option is to get a manual and do all that machining work. A lot of people are pulling full subframes out of things like bolts and
stuff.
Teslas.
Yeah.
And like
the
just
Teslanda.
welding them into the car, and it works
Yeah.
great. And you get all that, but like the dynamics aren't right, the spring rates aren't right, the brakes aren't right. So it's really case by case. I mean, it's really good for drag cars. It's not good for daily drivers. However, there is a company, and I forget what it's even called. I'm just gonna open the link. But anyway, they're now making at least
They're
a
called
prototype.
Electric GT, by the way.
Electric
I,
GT, there
I
you
looked over this on my own before I saw you put it in because I was going to put it in.
So basically, what they're doing is they have made a motor, inverter, charger combo unit that is in the same form factor as like a V10 version of a V8.
Yeah.
So it has the same accessory drive bolt holes, it
about
has the
4
same
inches
engine
longer.
mount points, but you don't need a radiator, so it's perfect.
Actually, I was about to say that because the drive, and then I think somebody else I was reading about was talking about this. I'm talking about, well, it's interesting, but how are you going to fit it? I'm like, me being a Honda person is like putting a B series, like a H series, a Prelude engine into like a Civic.
Right.
I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Like,
Well, I mean,
I'm like, you just take the radiator out and you move that, you put that somewhere that's not where it's supposed to go.
pretty much, but I mean,
Yeah.
you can tell these are designed for longitudinal swaps.
Yes.
But I mean, they're set up. They're set up to drive hydraulic accessories, belt drive accessories
Yes.
on the front.
And also, they go onto a normal manual transmission.
They do.
Huge.
With a regular flywheel
Yes.
and a regular transmission bell housing. That's all cheap. So yes, you pay more for the actual power unit, and it doesn't actually make that much power. I think the top spec one of these makes about 320 horsepower.
No, 240.
That's the base one.
No, it's 220 and 240 for this. That 320 was in the Ferrari 308 that they made. That was a
Oh.
prototype.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought they were offering two different output versions of this, but maybe
Yeah,
not.
there's a they do. They've got a 180 as well, I think.
Okay, either way, like not
Yeah.
huge power, but plenty.
We should also note that there's gonna be a hell of a lot more torque. It's
Well,
gonna have like
It'll have more torque, but it'll have it much more available for when you're actually driving around. which
yeah,
is
but
nice.
it's gonna have like 10-year-old Duramax torque probably.
Yeah, it'll probably make 400 foot-pounds.
Yeah, easily.
But
Uh,
it's super cool because I mean they're taking in my opinion, the biggest current issue is the inverter and the charger.
Yes.
And that is packaged on this. So you just go out and buy yourself a
is
couple of
huge.
volt batteries and you're done.
This is absolutely huge for
Yeah.
the aftermarket. Because I was actually, I showed this to my coworker, and his first question was, he's a Mopar guy. Mopars and motorcycles and just big, wet, lazy engines.
no car.
But anyway, his first question was, how much does it weigh and how much does it cost? And two very good questions. And I said, I frankly don't care. Because
Pretty much.
what I'm
And
thinking
it's
here...
aluminum and it's a motor, so it can't be that heavy.
What
And it's
I-
probably really expensive.
What I'm thinking here is I'm just thinking of all the really awesome vehicles that I really like from the late 50s, early 60s that aren't small block, American engines that are really, really hard to source parts for.
Yeah.
Or engines that just objectively suck and the car itself is great. And this is a perfect option for that.
Yeah, no, yeah, and the beauty is like it's a modular thing. So like when you destroy your one shit box, you just move this thing over into another one.
Exactly. Well, there's so many other things where it's like this is actually gonna benefit the car. So like something that's not like really that sought after, but it's a really cool car, a Ferrari 400i, something like that. This would be a great swap for that.
Yeah, because I
Where-
mean, making a set of mounts to hang that easy.
Yeah.
Drive shaft easy. Everyone can do that.
Yeah, and it's like a Ferrari 400i, or you get like a 63 Continental would be a really good option.
Well,
I'm
I mean,
thinking
it
vehicles
could be
that
any
made-
number of awesome car,
Yeah.
but like the beauty is it takes the skill level of a swap like this from machinist to backyard barbecue.
Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about. It's huge. Like you can fit this into so many normal cars, or it's like where an LS swap would normally be done.
Yeah.
And I think if they made this modular so you can modify it on like actual like industry standard parts, then you can start doing cool stuff with it. If it's all one off, like it only fits this one vehicle, that's create a little bit of an issue.
But this isn't geared to performance. Because if you want performance, you're going to go buy a wrecked Tesla and you're going to shove all that stuff in your car.
Well, and that's the thing is I think for a lot of people for making EV swaps, huge is having this geared for performance. If they and
I bet they
now
will.
now knowing that it's 240 horsepower. They're trying to make this so you can throw it into classics and drive them.
And you'll be able to do that.
Yeah.
And I think they will probably, if this actually takes off and they put it to market, which I assume they will,
Yeah.
and it sells well, all they have to do is make it less compatible with a lot of infrastructure and increase the actual width down here. Because right now they're limited by an 8-inch motor.
Yeah.
Because it has to fit in, the area where the crank weights normally would be in,
Yeah.
in a V8. So once you start increasing that to like a 16, 18-inch motor, you're going to be making 1,000 horsepower easy.
Yeah. I think that doing a larger engine or increasing the power density of the motor itself and
Right.
having a different motor down
Right.
there at the
Different
bottom.
motor technology too. Like
Yeah.
if you go to permanent magnet variable reluctance, things like that.
Exactly. So you can still tune an 8-inch motor like you tune, a V8 or
And that's the thing.
inline-six.
You could run 600 horsepower through it. It just won't last that long.
Then that's the thing. That's what I'm kind of talking about. It's like if you can make this so drag racers pick this up,
Right.
like I'm just thinking of like Cash at the Creek, like some dudes out there with a big wet hairy like big block. I'm running alcohol, and then some guy pulls up next to him in a Nova with this in it, and just destroys him. Like that's gonna be like the end of the world for the internal combustion engine, is if that happens.
Arguably the most exciting thing about something like this to me is you could feasibly street drive a Lenco transmission.
Yes, you could.
How badass would that be?
Actually, another item. Because I made this so light and it's all aluminum, that engine case, I bet's really thin, and
Yep.
it just exists to hold things on top of it.
It does. It's thin. It's like
And
10 gauge aluminum.
If it's thin, you know what
sheet
that
metal.
means?
What?
That means that transmits sound. And our favorite noise.
It resonates. Yeah, absolutely.
It makes it just sound
I do hope
angry.
it makes noise because one of the biggest gripes I have about my car is it's too quiet.
Yeah, no, I like part of the reason why I want a car from the 1950s is I want the sound of a big wet hairy V8.
I want to go on a tangent right now with big wet V8s, but I'm not going to do it yet. Because there's a thing I did, but we'll talk about that in the next episode.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so yeah, that's really cool. I'm really excited about that. And actually, speaking of such,
Yeah.
FIVA, Fédération Internationale des Véhicules Anciens. Can you pronounce that in French for me?
I'm looking through the notes here.
It's right there.
Okay. Le Fédération Internationale des Véhicules Anciens.
Or the International Federation of Historic Vehicles, has officially denounced EV swapping classic vehicles. Of course,
That's very un-Twingo-like.
Of course, Jalopnik is completely losing their minds. They're just having a high-speed come apart about this. And then the thing is, what they said was EV swapping a Beetle is no worse than LS swapping an old Defender if your sole concern is the preservation of period correctness. And the article stinks of subjective statements, is what they said. I'm gonna just tear apart what they said, what Jalopnik said, because I love Jalopnik, but they are just wrong in this case. Because first off, FIVA would lose their minds just as much if you LS swapped a Defender.
Yeah.
Because FIVA is the UNESCO body for historic vehicle preservation. Like, these are the guys that are like Concours, where it's like, hey, use the wrong kind of stitching, you're out.
Right.
Like,
It's not like, yeah, well, I just didn't do any hard mods to the chassis. I'm like, well,
yeah, no,
Okay.
no, it's like, if you look at the original statement, we actually have it here.
it is up on your stream, viewers.
Yes, and so basically, increasing number of commercial outfits are offering historic vehicles to run on electric power, replacing the entire drivetrain with an electric unit and batteries, yada, yada, yada. I may
Yada,
just
yada.
go through kind of what their claim is. I'm going to read some of these 3 paragraphs right here as to go really quick, because most of it's just dashes and stuff. FIFA understands the motivation of some owners to electrify their vehicles and acknowledges that, subject to legislation and regulation, that all modifications are a matter of personal choice. However, FIFA as an organization is dedicated to the preservation, protection, and promotion of historic vehicles, cannot promote to vehicles or regulators the use of modern EV components, motors, and batteries to replace historic vehicles' powertrain. Conversion of historic vehicles from their original internal combustion engines to electric power doesn't comply with FIFA definition of a historic vehicle, nor does it support the goal of preserving historic vehicles and their related culture. In FIFA's views, vehicles are so converted cease to be historic vehicles unless they are subject to in-period changes. So, basically what FIFA said is, unless it's a period-correct modification, all of it doesn't matter. All of it's wrong.
So they're totally okay with EV and electrification as long as you're using lead-acid batteries from the 1920s and permanent magnet DC motors.
If it's a period-correct modification, they're okay with that. Now, that does lead to what if you put a Detroit Electric power plant into a Model T? is that still an electric vehicle?
I think that would be pretty cool, especially
That
if
would be
you
a really cool
secretly
pre-war,
modernized the batteries, like put them in the original like lead acid battery cases, but put lithium cells in them.
Yeah, I think that'd be really cool. Also, by the way, Detroit Electric's super cheap.
I don't
Like,
care. I don't care.
$50,000 flawless.
I still don't care.
It's a phone booth that you could put a Tesla engine motor or a Tesla motor into.
Thank you for
which would be
correcting yourself.
hilarious. Anyway, so yeah, like FIVA's just they're totally in the right here because this is also again
I disagree.
FIFA is not they are not a performance thing. They are preservation. These are the
doesn't
people
matter.
no, these are the people that put cars into museums. That's what FIFA is. So that's
Right. So why are they dictating what people do with their own?
they're
vehicles?
not. They're just saying what is considered a historically preserved vehicle. That's totally different. That's like saying, oh, the Mona Lisa is great, but you can't use lead-based paint. So we have to actually completely rebuild the Mona Lisa to not use lead-based paint. Or something like that. So for FIFA, it has to be at least 30 years old, preserved and maintained in a historically correct condition, not used as a means of daily transport, and part of our technological and cultural heritage.
I still think this is super dumb. If you take out the original powertrain
It's
and you
not
don't make
original.
any hard modifications to the car,
Well, yeah, once you put it back together, it's fine. But if it's converted to an EV,
who cares?
that's not the same thing.
If you do it to, like, say you've got a pre-war Beetle, you take out that air-cooled flat four and you bolt in an electric conversion kit, and you have the original pre-war drivetrain sitting on an engine stand next to it. Tell me how that matters.
That matters because it's not the drivetrain in the car. You don't
So?
have the driving experience of the vehicle. It's completely
Great.
different.
It was probably shit.
Yeah, you're right. It was shit. And that's what they're trying to preserve.
Okay, all right, fine. I think I accept this a little bit better when they're...
They're
Old
tr-
cars were bad. You
They're
need to
trying
know how
preserve-
bad they were.
Well, no, that's part of history. Is they weren't that great. But at the same time, you know what else wasn't that great? Michelangelo's David. The penis fell off.
That's true. That was a
So
very
if-
non-robust penis.
Now, let's say what they're basically saying is this is the equivalent of saying, all right, you take Michelangelo's David, you're going to put on an additional new penis, and then you're going to paint the whole thing
But
with paint that doesn't come off.
It's like a synthetic urethane penis, and it doesn't match at all, and it's bigger.
And that's exactly
Is
what
that
they...
like engine swapping a classic car? Is that what
yeah,
they're
that's
saying?
exactly what they're saying.
So,
So imagine you put a dildo on Michelangelo's David. Is that then preserved?
that's good for a laugh, but it is not preserved.
Exactly. And that's exactly what they're saying. So
I
that's...
think we have inadvertently come up with the best analogy.
And that's
to FIBA's
basically
argument.
what they're saying is like Jalopnik's losing their mind for no reason. And your original response was Jalopnik's response.
Well, it's
That-
because it's a
that makes-
clickbait article.
It makes sense.
Clickbait.
Yeah, exactly. It is clickbait. But their response makes sense. However, FIFA is correct in this case. Anyway,
Fine.
Let's move on
I don't
to-
even really have an argument to that.
no,
so.
it's I just wanted to talk about that because I thought it was really interesting.
Speaking of Detroit
EV
electric vehicles, I want to talk about something that is not pre-war and is electric.
And not
You
from
drive a
Detroit.
Mazda, Ryan, do
I
you
love
not?
the Mazda. Yes,
Mazda makes pretty good normie vehicles.
they make great cars. I wish they made an EV.
They inadvertently lifted veil on an EV that they're coming out with. So this is in some ad somewhere, but it's called the MX-30. It
Oh.
has a gigantic overbite hood on it, clearly based on a CX-5, and it's an EV, and it's got the RX-8 rear doors.
That was in an ad run in a Japanese newspaper,
Magazine.
or sorry, magazine.
No,
yes.
it probably was a newspaper, but I'm just going to call it a magazine.
But anyway, it's an ad run in Japan.
Yeah, cool.
And it was meant to promote a car show. Not this.
Not like the
and the car show
embargo
it
violating
wasn't Mazda.
auto show shop.
It was the car show promoter that put down. There's like these are all of the cars that Mazda's gonna have. Come
How
see
much
these.
angry were they?
Not that.
Okay, cool. Like,
'Cause
whatever.
it
It's like
was,
2 days early.
Yeah, it was whatever.
But clearly this was taken like at a press day at an auto show, so it's probably already
Yeah,
like, legit by
it's-
now.
yeah.
But okay, so I want to just talk briefly about the specs because I know you guys hate when I talk about EV stuff, but whatever. It's a CUV, boo, cool double 2-door FJ RX-8 doors though, so that's kind of cool.
Yes.
141 horsepower, 195 wheel torque, 35.5 kilowatt hour battery, which is pretty good.
What is that? How many miles?
Well, if you're driving it kindly, probably 160 miles.
So not quite Tesla, but still
A crappy Tesla, it would probably be pretty close because it's a much more efficient layout than a Tesla, even though
This
base
is
Teslas
just
are kind
an
of
EV.
40.
Just an EV.
But it's cheap.
And how
And-
many miles does it go?
About 160.
It's not going to cut it.
And it's fully eligible for the tax credit if it comes here. So,
It doesn't cut it, I think.
but it's like, but the CX-5 drives great. EVs drive great. Like I bet this thing's actually kind of
Yeah,
fun.
I'm sure it's fine for the 20 feet you can drive it.
I guess it's probably based on a CX-3, huh?
But this is the thing.
20 feet is not 20 feet. It's 160 miles. Who drives more than that? Really?
You.
Not well.
Anyway, so
Damn
the
You got me.
this is the thing with the Fiat 500. That's fine, because that's a city car. This is a crossover. This is for going antiquing out in the country.
You could do that. There's no antiquing places that are that far away.
If I were to drive, so all right, I drove the entire capacity of this battery.
Yeah.
If I drove kindly, I would have driven from last Saturday I went from St. Louis Park to Bloomington to Northeast Minneapolis to New Prague, Minnesota, back to Northeast Minneapolis, back to St. Louis Park, then to Bloomington.
When there are many CCS chargers in that area.
But that's the thing. That took up my entire day. Doing
That's
that in
fine.
an internal combustion engine.
But that's like saying
there's
I
also-
need an SUV to encounter snowdrifts more than 10 inches high, which happens once or twice a year.
So this is basically the thing, though, is that you don't need the SUV A. And
You
B,
don't. This would be better as a Mazda
but
3.
this is the issue, the marketing of it. Because they're marketing, since it's SUV, it's going to be marketed to the people that go, I need an SUV for snowdrifts.
But it's also marketed to the people that maintain their vehicles the worst, and electric powertrains hold up really well to neglect.
Like not charging it. And then you go
That's
out
fine.
to your house and you're like, "Ah, shit, I can't go anywhere today."
Good. They shouldn't be on the road. They're crossover
No, they
drivers.
shouldn't be, but that's what I'm saying. As a sales
We should
pitch,
put 10
this isn't
kilowatt
gonna
hour
work.
batteries in CUVs so they can't drive.
That's a great idea. But I think as a sales pitch, this isn't going to work out very well for Mazda.
Do you know what they should have done? Just made an electric chimney.
You know what Mazda should do is
Or electric
they
Mazda
should
3.
do what BMW did and have a tiny little rotary engine off in the corner that acts basically is just a big ass alternator.
A range extender.
A range extender, like an alternator that'll just charge the vehicle.
But a rotary range extender.
Well, I've seen the smallest form factor of
Okay.
an internal
I mean,
combustion
it would be
engine.
kind of ironic because those are incredibly dirty engines.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm all for that actually. That'd be
Mazda's
cool.
actually thinking about bringing back their rotary as a range extender. So,
They were originally, and now
yeah.
it's coming back in an actual car. So.
but anyway, it's one of those things where it's. I think if this had a range extender, it will sell like hotcakes. And yes, it does.
It's got a bit of an overbite.
and it's got a Habsburg chin. Can you just Google a Habsburg chin?
Well, I just made one on myself with my fist.
I know, but it,
Habsburg?
yeah, HAPSBURG.
Oh!
From
Ooh.
hundreds of years of inbreeding, all the Habsburgs
Ooh.
had terrible chins.
Ooh! Man, your sister wasn't even attractive. How did this happen? Oh my god.
That's what the Habsburg chin is.
CX30.
This is why
We're no longer on the air in Japan.
I know, right? It looks like it's got a Habsburg chin.
Anyway, there you go. Mazda's doing an EV.
Mazda's doing EV. Mazda's kind of a smaller car company, and I want to talk about even smaller car companies than
Okay.
Mazda.
Oh, jeez. Well, there's a lot of them.
Nobe, Persang, the whatever the new version of Hispano Suiza would be, stuff like that. Pagani,
Okay.
Koenigsegg,
It's probably like Rimace, honestly.
Rimace, all of these companies though, Morgan, are all low production.
I want Morgan to do an EV. I want a wood chassis and an electric powertrain
That's actually
in the
sounds
same.
really awesome. Not gonna lie.
We've solved the issue.
Or more directly, DMC, the modern DeLorean.
Yeah. Instead of companies just like building on 1981 DeLoreans.
So, well, DeLorean originally wanted to do new cars, but in 2015, the U.S. government passed the Low Volume Motor Vehicle Manufacturers Act
Which is pretty cool.
of 2015. This year, SEMA actually just submitted to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals that they are suing the U.S. government
Wait,
for
SEMA
SEMA. 'cause
is suing.
SEMA SAN is their lobbyist arm, and SEMA's suing the U.S. government because they haven't enacted this law that was passed in 2015, and the law states that they've got 12 months to enact the law, and they've
Oh.
just been sitting on it.
Oh, okay.
doing
Well, that's kind of
nothing.
cool.
The law states that it was scheduled to be implemented in 2016, but legislators have failed to do so despite the law being passed. So SEMA filed the lawsuits in the California. Bill allows the sale of turnkey replica cars, DMC, with a new chassis
Sure.
or a Persang Bugatti, with sale of
kinda
low
cool.
volume that doesn't meet NHTSA safety requirements.
I'm building a brand new Avantime.
Now, that would include Pagani, Morgan, and Nobe, are those three.
Sure.
The bill delays actually caused a lot of job losses, actually, because that Countach remake
well, let me
that you see above,
let me actually open up the screen cap
yeah,
here.
that Countach remake was the guy lost his shirt, actually went into bankruptcy because he built the company around this law being enacted.
Mm-hmm. Oh, jeez.
Since it hasn't been enacted, it's cost him hundreds of thousands of dollars of unpaid, of not being able to pay for work.
Right.
And so he hasn't got. I'm sorry, he hasn't actually. I don't think he's actually gone bankrupt yet, but he's
Oh, yeah. But
nearing
he's
it.
probably just having to just funnel cash into this thing.
Yeah.
So.
And then DeLorean has actually had to fire several people in their Nevada plant. So this is actually causing real life job. I don't know what the hell Republicans are doing, not talking about this.
Well, they're too busy trying to downplay impeachment proceedings, I
That's
guess.
probably, yeah.
I don't know.
But it doesn't make sense. Or even like any presidential candidate should talk about this.
I agree. But I
Like-
mean, we're in the minority when it comes to topics that we feel are important. Because most people are
No,
driving
this is the
their
thing. This is a
CX-30s
this is
around.
a super easy win for any politician. Is just say, look how do nothing our government is. We passed a law that would create jobs in America, and they're doing nothing. They're costing America jobs.
They should
That is-
roll a repeal of the 25-year rule into this, and then I'll be happy.
Well, then you just have to go back in. But the thing is, this is actually law. This is law. It's just that they haven't enacted it, so you can't actually apply for any of the stuff that you need
That's cool.
to be able to build a car under this law.
That's pretty dumb.
Yeah. So that's what SEMA is suing over, and yeah, it is totally ridiculous that this hasn't been done. Because yeah, there's so many cool things, and actually, you probably could do a.
Avantime.
You probably could.
I'm going to build a replica Avantime on a Nissan Quest.
Well, they do small vehicle production, so you could buy, say, a used Avantime, and then modify it in some way.
By putting a US VIN on it and trying to not pull an R34.
Yes.
That would be tough
But,
to get in through.
well, no, you modify it in some way.
It's a Nissan Quest.
and then you sell it. No, you sell it as a different vehicle. So
I
say,
suppose.
say you get like an Avantime,
It's a Modi.
and then you could do if you put in like a coach built Avantime. So you coach build by put like a body kit on it that's easily removable, and then like some nice
Make the
seats.
interior nicer,
Yeah,
and then change the badges a bit,
yeah,
and then electric powertrain.
well, even if you use the stock VQ.
Okay,
I
fine.
mean, I'm just thinking of ways to get Avantime into America via this law. You could just coach build it in America, and then it would be.
Well, getting one into the United States is extremely tough. Otherwise, I would just buy one and not register it.
Well, that's the thing is you would buy it with the under the company's name, coach build it, and
Okay.
then you sell it as your own car.
I have difficulty conveying how much I want an Avantime.
You have difficulty conveying.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
So anyway,
Pretty spurgy.
you know what I really want is I want a car about the size of an E30. That's a BMW. I just want a good BMW, and I feel
So
like
you
the
mean
E30,
you want a 1 Series from 10 years ago?
or maybe even a 2 Series. I could go with a 5 Series and like a 95 Series, which would be a 2 Series.
But like the 2 Series that came after the 1 Series, it was like similar. It was rear-wheel drive,
It was
which was
good.
cool.
It was good, but not
But it
great.
had electric steering, and like it had the crappier powertrains.
So I said good, but not great.
Well, I mean, you could have done okay with that until like this month. Have you seen that new 2 Series that they're coming out with?
No,
Oh, yeah. So your hopes of a tiny BMW are totally gone.
why? What did they do?
Do you even want me to tell you, Ryan?
Did they turn the entire front end into one solitary overgrown kidney grill?
You know, they did, but that is not the biggest issue that this car has.
what is that? Is literally a solitary grill at that point.
It's front-wheel drive.
Okay.
It's called a coupe, even though it's 4 doors.
You like that?
I like the Grand Coupe vehicles because they look good. The 4 Series and the 6 Series Grand Coupes look better
We
than
had
the
our
3 and 6
conversation
Series.
about these, and then
Anyway,
you said
I'm trying-
that you like that form factor.
I do. This is not a Grand Coupe. This is a 4-door hatchback sedan with a bloated A-pillar because it's got a front-wheel drive transverse 4-cylinder under it. But I want to talk about how BMW took the last enthusiast chassis they made, which was the 2 Series,
And ruined
the
it.
current M2, and they've turned it from a rear-wheel drive, optional manual transmission, front engine 6-cylinder layout into an automatic-only front-wheel drive with optional crap-ass all-wheel drive sedan. Like, I love sedans, but the 2 Series is not a sedan.
I have a question.
What? I hate this car.
When we were in high school,
Yeah.
if I told you that, and you believe me, that BMW would one day turn into effectively an
Kia.
an Acura ILX.
That's a Kia.
That's an Acura ILX.
That's a Kia.
Well, no,
The Acura looks better.
but I'm saying just mechanically that falls in complete perfect competition with the Acura ILX, the tarted
It's an
up Civic.
A3. No, because
Yeah.
those are both reliable. This is not.
But anyway, so you want me to know. If I told you that BMW would effectively create an Acura ILX one day, front wheel drive, automatic only, and that would replace their sports car, their enthusiast car, would you have devoted your life to being a BMW enthusiast?
No, but I haven't. I've been a very loud admirer of their good product in the past.
You've owned more BMWs than any other vehicle,
I have, because they've been good until recently.
but that's not mean.
And they're still, honestly, one of the last manufacturers in this country that sell manual transmissions.
That's true.
So I'm trying, BMW. I'm trying real hard.
Anyway, so
I hate this car.
What I think this is going to do, this is BMW sealing their fate. This is their nail in the coffin.
I respond to a lot of posts on BMW's Facebook page, their CCA, which is their owners group page.
Who's Beef Whiskers?
That is Jake. I don't even know his real name. I call him Potato. Jake something.
Yeah, I'm not talking about that.
Um,
That car sucks.
I know. We've had a discussion about the B8 S4 this week. I'm like, it's actually a good car with a manual, but you know what exists? The 335i manual. It's cheaper. It's way better.
Now we're talking about the B8. Actually, I'm okay talking about the B8.
Yeah, because screw this 2 Series crap.
Tell me about the B8 S4. Can we just pull a picture so I know what I'm talking
fine.
about before I talk shit about a car?
I actually want to tell you something really interesting about the B8 S4. In manual transmission guys only.
So this is not the 4.2 V8.
No, this is the 3.0T, which is Audi's best engine.
This is fine.
It's a fine car. It is. They offer it with a really nice feeling manual transmission. The engine sounds pretty good. But have you ever had one of these in the shop with the trans off of it? Probably not, because they're actually
They're
pretty
awful.
reliable.
Yeah.
No, it's weird because they've got the in order to keep the Quattro on this or whatever, normally you got to move the engine way forward. On these, they do it differently. So they actually put the engine kind of where it should be.
Okay.
They run where the flywheel would normally be, right on the back of the crank, there is like a flex plate with a 12-inch torque tube that goes over the front axle, and then the flywheel's welded to that torque tube. So the front axle actually goes between the back of the crank and the front of the flywheel
Oh, weird.
at level. It's really strange. Makes it suck to work on, but it's one of the best balanced Audis because of that.
There's one catastrophic issue with this vehicle.
There's a bunch of catastrophic issues.
This is the one. I've not killed any S4s for this because I don't see that many S4s in total. Hello, Corey. I don't see that many S4s in total.
Yeah.
However, the sunroof drains.
Oh yeah, but I mean that's the same thing as BMWs.
Let me just explain this to people that might not be entirely aware. In my background is I work at a Volkswagen Audi repair shop. We repair Subarus as well, but Subarus don't break nearly as much. Now,
That's true.
it's just it's a fact.
Which is incredible.
I tell people, like, when they're like, well, what do I do now after their Touareg blows up and they can't afford anything else? I tell them, well, a third of our customers drive Subarus, and maybe 1 in every 30 cars we see is a Subaru. So you have that.
And 29 are Audis.
Yeah. Well, no, 26 of them are Volkswagens, and then the rest are Audis.
Okay, fine. But still, VAG powertrains.
What happens to these is the sunroof drain. You have one that goes down the A pillar on each side.
Yep.
Now, your body control module and all your important computers are on the floorboard of the
I was gonna say, are they on the passenger floorboard or
drivers.
footwell? Drivers.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and this is the thing, is they're actually at the lowest point for gravity, like for water to go.
Yeah.
So
'cause
I've
they're-
actually-
they're bolted to the.
Do you remember
body of the
do you remember
car.
Jana's Pulp Fiction horchata incident in my van? Mm-hmm. I had a customer that had that happen with a Super Buddy, or not a Mega, no Super. What's bigger than Mega Buddy? Quick Trip.
I
biggest
do not buy soft
the
drink.
biggest quick Trip pop. He thought he put in his cup holder, and he squeezed it and exploded, and totaled his car out over that, because he had a liter of pop. That's
A liter of cola?
Of cola that went directly into the body control module, because just like the freak accident of where his leg was placed, all of it went directly there. But anyway,
And they don't even conformal coat the PCBs on these boards. They are just dry PCBs in non-watertight enclosures with non-watertight connectors.
Yeah.
Like, it's actually kind of okay if you put a BCM down there, but you should use amp seal connectors. You should have a conformally coated
yeah,
circuit board, and you should have an O-ringed damn enclosure.
yeah.
And
Or
none of them do that.
at the very minimum, if you're going to put it on the floor, put it underneath the driver's seat, where you have those two structural pillars that go where the seat bolts up, and then that's actually kept away from any water. Like, but this is the thing. So that happened with a pop. When you're, when people inevitably forget, when old ladies that you buy these used S4s from inevitably forget to have their sunroof drains cleaned out, they back up, and they go through the vents.
That's a different problem than BMW.
Oh, this is way different. So what happens is the sunroof, the drains back up, and then they go right into the floor and they fry the cars.
Sure.
And so we've actually killed several B8s over that. And actually just this week killed one, and it wasn't even the sunroof drains. The person lived with their car parked beneath a tree.
Okay.
The cowl drains
Yeah.
got plugged up and went through the HVAC. From the HVAC, the lowest point is the footwell vents, and the footwell vents go directly onto the body control module.
See,
and
on the
fried it.
BMWs, they don't clog; they fall off the sunroof cassette.
Oh yeah,
And you just have
that'll
to, you have to just put them back on.
that happens when they're really old.
No, happens on 2-3-year-old cars.
Oh, that happens on Audis when they're like 20 years old
And
and,
the
they've like
solution
dried
is
out.
drop the headliner a little bit, put a hose clamp on it, and you're fine. But they don't clog.
Yeah, no, Audi clogs. Audi
And
clogs big time.
Another thing on sunroof drains, if you buy a slick top car in Minnesota and you drive it for a long time, you won't have nearly as many rust issues because sunroof drains drain salt water inside the panels of your car,
Yeah,
front and rear.
it's true.
And you can't clean it out.
Yeah, that is absolutely correct.
So you want to see a much less rusty car? It's a car without a sunroof.
yeah,
Don't buy a sunroof.
I love sunroofs, but yes,
not buy a
I do take that into account. So I think it was a good way to talk about the 2 Series. Is talk about anything other than the 2 Series, because
I don't want to talk about that car anymore.
BMW's dead to us.
It's very damn close.
For me, it's been dead.
They still offer manual transmission cars, so I
Okay.
can't say no until it's gone.
So does Mitsubishi.
Yeah, the
But we
Mirage
love
is good.
We love Mitsubishi.
The Mirage is good.
What did we learn this week?
I didn't learn anything.
You didn't learn not a single thing.
No.
You and I learned.
What?
I learned several things.
Oh, I remembered something. You go first.
Okay, perfect. The first thing that I learned is that rats enjoy driving cars.
Saw that link to dramatic increase in quality of life when scientists taught rats.
Did you
how to
actually
drive
read
cars.
into it though?
I don't read anything,
Okay.
Ryan. I hate reading.
So this is the thing. This is exactly why we should not do like autonomous driving, because driving is relaxing. They actually measured the level of, I forgot what chemical, I think it's like serotonin or something, that causes you to relax when you're stressed out.
It's probably dopamine. Serotonin, I think, is the happy thing.
But anyway, yeah, so they measure the level of the chemicals that cause you to relax when you're comfy. And they had these rats drive to go get some food across the floor of this office, and they
Freaking adorable.
yeah, they measured it, and when you're driving, you're relaxed. Now, if you are the passenger, it actually stressed out the passengers.
Well, I could see that, especially if the mouse drives like I do.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the first time driving, so. And what's even better is it's really cute the way they did it. You know how tanks have their little levers to control them?
Yeah.
They had 2 levers for the rats to drive with. And so they didn't give them any instruction, obviously. They put their hands on it, or the little paws on it, and they pushed one paw down to turn it left and then one down to turn it right, and pulls them down to move it forward.
This is really cute.
And that's how they taught the rat to drive. And then they just left him alone and let him go get his cheese. It was like super cute.
Well,
And they were like really excited. They tried to get
why
him
is
out.
stuff like this not on the TV news?
I have no idea, but it's
Like, I
all
don't
over the
wanna hear
internet
about
news.
Politics, I know.
Yeah, but they tried to get one, and one kept driving away from them.
Oh, really? Like trying to get him out of the
Like
car?
they tried to pick him up out of the car, and he kept accelerating away from the hand, trying to grab him.
My dude.
So this is a perfect example. We test on animals. We test cosmetics on pigs, right?
Now we're going to be able to test cars on rats?
Now we have scientific proof that humans hate autonomous driving. It will stress us out, and we're all going to hate our lives. So this is why autonomous driving. This is what I learned this week. Is we now have scientific proof that autonomous driving is bad for your health. It's bad for you. There
It's
you go.
actually hazardous to your health.
Yes, it is. So now, what did you learn?
I learned that 1989 BMW 5 Series cars had a mechanical electric immobilizer interlock.
Is that that beige thing downstairs?
Yeah.
That's an 89.
Yeah.
Looks really good for an 89.
First year. Yeah. 89 to 95 was that body style. So E34s, if you got one that seems like it's got a bad ignition coil, but everything checks out just fine, it's your immobilizer. And you can delete that by unplugging it, and it's underneath your back seat.
Well, I really like that body style a lot. I was actually
When they're in
looking,
good shape.
I was looking at BMWs in Washington because Darren lives out there now.
He does indeed. He makes many posts about Washington.
Yes, he does. And so he's always willing to look at cars for me. I found a Fintail Mercedes I'm trying to get Jana to look at if we don't find a house first.
Buy a house first.
The
Stop buying cars.
Fintail is $1,800,
Yeah, that's
and it
great,
runs,
but who
and
cares?
it's really clean.
Fintails are not that cool.
It's Jana's favorite.
Pontons
Mercedes.
are cool.
Jana's favorite Mercedes is a Fintail.
Well, that's wrong, but okay.
Well, you gotta tell her that to her
I
face.
will.
All right. Anyway, so I just found out how just unbelievably cheap they are. They're cheaper there.
You
than
can't
they are
learn 2 things in 1 week, Ryan.
sorry,
It's,
I'll tell you-
it's illegal.
here. I'll tell you later.
Tell me about the Fintail next week.
Well, no, I was talking about BMWs.
Tell me about the other thing you
Bye.
learned next week.